good evening. So I'm Alia. I'm gonna talk about goals, the topic that I chose for my final research paper for English 1 and 2. Okay. So we know how important goals are, and we believe that to be successful is to have accomplished all your certain goals that you set. And this is that kind of thinking that we've been raised and we've been taught by our parents, our family, that it is like that. So people always have goals. But the question is, if many people know how important goals are, if many people know that to have a successful life is to have good goals, then why it turns out that just few people that actually able and successful to accomplish goals? What's the reason? What's the reason behind it? And then in my paper, I examined the reason was because people don't really understand what they are actually need to accomplish their goals, because they are overly preoccupied to what they want in the final outcome, but they are neglectful to what actually really matters in the process to get the goals. And then so there's 3 key points that I mentioned in my paper. The first one is the why and the mistake learning. This is really important to have it, because if you don't know your why, if you don't know the reason why you want to have your goals, why you think that you must accomplish the goals, then there's 2 outcomes. You're gonna lose its meaning, lose the goals meaning, and then the second, you're not gonna really excited to accomplish your goals, because you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. And then the mistake learning skill. This is really important because we know that in the way to achieve goals, we believe that it's not gonna be soft and easy. Many obstacles gonna present in the process, but we can decide if we want to learn from that failure and mistake that can be a learning medium for us to start again to achieve the goals, or we're gonna think that it's too hard for us, so we're gonna stop and stuck in that point of process. And that's why it's really important to have the why and mistake learning skill. And then the second, I also mentioned the self-discipline. It is really important to have a solid basic foundation of self-discipline, because this is one of the variables that is really important beyond all the other variables that are needed to accomplish goals. Because this is actually the control, the inner power of yourself, inner power of a person that can tell yourself when to do something and then what to do. So it's really important to have it. And then the third is behavior and habit. Behavior and habit is something that has been attached to us for such a long time, because this is a little thing that we've been doing unconsciously that's called behavior. And then this behavior, because we do it repetitively, then it changes to habit. Behavior and habit can be very good, but it can be also a downfall for you if you don't understand what is it, if you keep choosing to stop with your bad habits. So it's really important to understand the behavior and habit. And if you don't have good habit, if you have been having bad habit, then it's really important to know how can you change your habit. But in this presentation, I'm only gonna talk in details about the first point, that is the why and mistake learning skill. The why. We have to know what we're doing so that we will have excitement in doing it, and we will understand why should we do it. And then also the process not gonna be so boring when you know what is the reason why you're doing something. And then according to Anthony Robbins, he's a motivational speaker and then famous author for self-help books. He mentioned, this is Anthony Robbins, and then he mentioned in the TED Talk section, he said that Know your reason. Once you know it, you'll push the draw the map and belief system towards your goals. Anthony Robbins, 2008. This is to say that once you know your reason, it's just automatically in yourself, you will find the map to follow to achieve your goals. So you're not gonna be lost when you try to achieve your goals to accomplish the successful life that you want. And when you know your reason of doing something, you're gonna believe in yourself that you can do it. You're not gonna feel like you're forced in doing something, and you'll believe that everything is possible to get. And then that's why the first point is really important to understand your meaning. Second, the why came from Craig Harper. He is the Director of Health and Wellness for DHAP, the most leading Australia addiction treatment. And then he said that to construct a best life is to know what motivates you towards the goals. It's actually kind of the same thing what Anthony Robbins said. You have to know why you want to do it, so it will become a motivation behind the reason why you're doing it. Because if you don't have a motivation, then it's just gonna be empty and plain, and you're not gonna excited to do something. It's like, remember when your parents are mad at you because you don't get good grades in your mathematics or something, and then they force you to have good grade. Maybe you will have it, but do you feel you're motivated to have good grade in mathematics, or do you feel you're forced to do it because otherwise your parents gonna be mad at you? That's why it's really important to examine your motivation of doing something, because this is the trigger and ammunition of all your action, of all your efforts. Because at one point maybe you're gonna feel tired, but when you know your motivation, then your energy gonna get filled up again. And then we have to really understand the mystic learning skill. As Angela Duckworth said, grit is needed to build wall for the success, as it contains the motivation to always learn from mistake and to be persistent in your efforts. Angela Duckworth, she is the professor of psychology in UPenn. She's also been talking a lot in TED Talks, and she's a good motivational speaker. And then maybe grit is a new word for you. It's also a new word for me, but grit here is a personal trait that you need that contains perseverance, persistency of everything that you're doing. And once you have persistence, you're always gonna want to try again. Maybe one time you will fail, you will face the mistake, you will face the obstacles that present in the way. But when you're persistent in your efforts, persistent in what you're doing, then you will believe that the failure is not something permanent. This is something that you can change. And when you have grit, you're gonna see it as a learning medium, because you know what you're doing, you're persistent with what you're doing, then it's not gonna be a slipping stone for your way.